I'm Sean Carlson. I'm with Blackmagic Design. I'm here to show you some of the DaVinci Resolve features in DaVinci Resolve 20 Studio and free versions. Here we are at the Blackmagic booth, so follow along. What I've got here is the Multicam Smart Switch. We've done a lot with AI tools in this version, and one of the things is, say we have a three-person multicam, as you can see, a podcast. And with the clip that I've cut down, I've created this multicam clip. I'm going to right-click on it, and I'm going to use the Multicam Smart Switch, which is going to offer me some, decision-making, right? How long is my minimum edit? How fast is it going to change between the two? And so I'm just going to click Analyze. Analyzing this media, DaVinci Resolve is listening to it, and it's going to be cutting the appropriate angles in. So you can see now we've cut her picture in as she speaks, her picture as she speaks, and we've cut back to her as she introduces this gentleman over here as he begins to answer. Okay, so four different cuts automatically. Now these cuts are, of course, all completely editable. So if I wanted to get more of his smile as a reaction to her, I can simply roll my edit back. Right, he's responding and then he's natural. Okay, so that's Multicam Smart Switch. Now if I move to another project that I've got hidden over here in the background, I'd like to show you what we also have is some voice convert options. So now we've recorded Sean in this environment and you can hear his audio, but what we have access to is taking the audio itself and then go into the voice convert. And an AI-based voice convert gives us the options, right? You can see there's models available, and we've picked a model, right? 1 or 2. Type match to source removes the variance, so you can actually change the variance of the conversational style, as well as change this pitch. So if I leave the pitch about here and then click render, it's going to analyze the clip, it's going to replace this, and then with it soloed, you can see right here, it just says male US 1 wave. Now, probably can't hear in this environment, but you'll see that it's actually done the voice conversion and it's changed it. Now you might also decide that maybe you're cutting this timeline and you want to use one of the new record voiceover tools. So the voiceover tool pops up and selects your audio input, which right now is just listening to us from this MacBook Pro. But having recorded my voiceover, I can then decide again on the voiceover recording clip that I would like to voice convert and change it for AI. All right, so more features here because there's so many of them. Let me move to another timeline for you, and let's look at Intelliscript. All right, because I want to find this clip in the media pool and show you how we've started. Okay. And then if I just add this to a new timeline so we can see this, we're going to call this script, make it easy on me. All right, so here's our clip. And this clip as transcribed, right, is here. So let's select it. We've run our transcription on it, which is basically taking the speech to text, okay? This allows us a couple of things like the ability to make selections in this window, which actually corresponds to the selection made in the source viewer, okay? We can make our trims this way, right? We can select a multiple range, save as duration markers, save as subclips, play to, the in to out to kind of audition this. You'll see that it navigates over as the words are being spoken. There are some direct editorial tools if you're going to create a string out or you're just going to start appending clips to this. But right now what we're going to do is we've just used this to generate our text, and then I've exported that text here. It's A005C06, right? So having saved that text as a text file, I'm going to close this window. We're going to right-click on this file, and we're going to choose inside the AI tools to create a new timeline using Intelliscript. When I select that, it asks me where my script is. And this is my script, right? You see I just exported it. That's what he just said, okay? And then we're going to click on Open. And now it's cut all the original angles in. What DaVinci Resolve believes to be the best take of every angle is cut in here, every deliverable line, and then the alternates are just, you know, muted above, right? Disabled clips above. So we can audition those if we think that maybe we could make a better decision than the...
this here from start to finish, it's what you highlighted.
Exactly.
You pull it out, and based on AI, what you think is a better angle, better cut.
Yes, okay. Yes, and likewise, to your point just now, if I had taken the script and decided to trim the script down and then fed that script back against the clip, it would only cut in the clips that match the script that I gave it. So essentially you can create a select reel string out just like that from that timeline. But you know, you can imagine that in a narrative environment, you'd have multiple clips and they correspond to an actual script. So you would simply feed the script against those clips, and again, the assembly is contained, right?
And so currently these are different angles and they're currently disabled.
Yeah, and so the D key just toggles between enabling and disabling those angles, right? So it's just a matter of, you know, do I want to hear this and then solo, you know, to see if maybe I like this clip better, this longer deliverable. You know, I can just solo what I've done. And you know, since we talked about it earlier, you can even decide to voice convert an alternate take, and you know, make this one a deeper timbre to his voice, right? So now, here's the new dialogue. I know. I think you can't probably hear it, and especially how noisy it is here. I've turned the volume down on the TV itself.
But what you just told AI to do is deepen his voice.
Basically, I asked for a pitch adjustment on his voice, so you can imagine that, you know, maybe you hit the voiceover tool and you don't like your sound, but it's temp or scratch voiceover anyway. But you can polish it up nicely because it's going to train on the voice that you just gave it.
So if I can't find someone to do a voiceover, I'll use my voice.
You could use your voice.
I personally don't like my voice for voiceover.
Right, exactly.
I can play with AI.
Play with the AI and convert your voice so that it sounds like it's a different person, right? Like your voiceover talent. Okay. Now another great feature that's in here is if I switch to yet another project that I have that's kind of built in the background. This is another AI-based feature, and in this case, we have one environment where we recorded this person, but we have a second environment where we recorded this person. And this is open and airy, and we definitely don't, you know, we can tell that they don't sound the same. And that's the AI dialogue matcher. So now that's a clip-based attribute. So let's just show you where this clip exists, right? I'm going to go to the media pool, find it. I have a couple of clips, like I have this one in the media pool as well. So if this is my source, because I like this sound, I like the you know, way that sounds, then on the clip AI tool, I can choose the. I'm sorry. Of course, I keep doing this in the wrong menu for you. All right, Clips AI tools, we have dialogue matcher, all right? So the dialogue matcher will capture the dialogue profile of the source clip that we want to use to match to the other clips. So capturing the dialogue profile, and then taking these clips, say, and let's go to the clip menu, AI tools, apply the dialogue profile. So right now I've already applied one. I can remove the applied profile. It changes it back. And then from the clip menu, I can decide to dialogue match and apply it. And so now it's actually been changed. You saw the waveform adjust. This will sound much more natural in the same environment.
Right on.
Right? And then there's additional tools that are up here in this audio side, like voice isolation, dialogue leveler, and music remixer. More AI tools, but they're on a clip as you control in the inspector.
Regarding with AI and sound and music, I get a clip, it has background music, right? And the client says, can you remove music? Mm-hmm. Is that something that's possible as well?
Yeah, voice isolation is probably going to be the first thing that I would try on that, which is right now a slider. But you can click it open and see the slider in this view. It also means that, you know, if you've created presets, right, you can name a preset for the type of recording. Perhaps you're going to record in the same environment next time, and you just save that preset. This is, you know, warehouse bay recording the interview bite, okay? And save presets, toggle through presets. There's even some A and some B options of the same one, so you can copy A to B, or you can just switch between A and B as your options. Bouncing the audio effect is just what a typical DAW would do to bounce, essentially to write a cache file. Okay, and the preset manager is something that you can use to kind of navigate through the various presets that you may have set across, all of the various audio preset options that are available in Resolve. When we get to color, some more AI tools, we might as well show you right now how things have been updated, right? The AI Magic Mask 2, we had Magic Mask in a previous version. We've had it now for a couple of versions. But what happened between the last one and this one is a full rewrite. So Magic Mask used to use a stroke technology. We would simply draw to select a stroke. It would track that. It would recognize what we meant as the pattern. But right now, what we're using is a single click. Right? So Magic Mask single click has just decided all of the exposed face. And now this is open for a secondary adjustment in DaVinci Color. So if we move to the additional tools, you can see I was using the addition click, there's a subtract click, and then there's even a paint stroke. So if I added paint stroke, I could find an area to add to my selection. But what I really want here is I want to take the whole person. So let me just go ahead and click again and say, please give me the whole person instead.
Gotcha, okay.
Track the whole
I'm
person.
surprised that it recognized when you clicked on the shirt, it
recognized the arm.
The shadow,
Yep.
the shadow, and the arm.
Exactly. Now we're actually only doing this in quality faster mode, right? And so let's click to quality better mode just to see how things change. Now it picked up a little bit more of his hair.
Yeah, you see
Right?
through, like in the middle of his hair for sure.
Exactly. There's a little tiny bit of post filtering going on, but you have the additional post filter options here to add to, essentially to help it light wrap if you're going to be substituting a background in a composite. So this now just requires tracking. So we would track it here forward and backwards, and then everywhere it moved, it would simply be, available to our secondary correction. Right? Here's yet another feature that just got completely updated. If I move to this clip and then we say, let's go to the effects palette. We've got film look creation on it. Fine, let's go in between these two, just real quick. And I'm going to choose the depth map, okay, which is already here. And let me turn off my highlight mode, so it's just in a black-white icon. Now depth map in the better mode is actually the new version of depth map. If you have to support the older version of depth map in your existing stuff, you can switch to faster mode because that's essentially what it would be.
Right,
so the faster mode is the original version, the better mode is the second version. Now resulting map adjustment means I can adjust the levels of the near and the far elements, right? So if I just said near limit is here, far limit I don't want, at all, and then let's go ahead.
This border right here, is it telling you that you're overexposing?
Actually, this is just kind of an attribute of the fact that this is at the very edge of our near limit, right? And you can see the gradient determines that actual Z depth, right? Well, if we wanted to isolate even further, we can go ahead and turn on isolation. That will allow us to really just pick up, particular things that we want to have in focus. So if it's really just a matter of he's just holding something, and he's holding something that we'd like to track, that we want as a secondary adjustment. We need to bring extra light to the product, right? We're shooting a product video. So having done that, let's turn off the depth map preview and show you basically how this works. If I add yet another node, and then I do something like the defocus background to this node, well, here's the slider, right? Let's go ahead and use let's turn this one off. Turn off my highlight. Could almost not see because he's already out of focus now. I'll switch to the other one, watch. I'll do this on the dock. Let's use this shot, all right?
So much stuff is going on right here.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and this is probably the last in the chain is right here on 9. So why don't I go ahead and add one to the end of the chain. Let's go with depth map at the end. Okay, there's our depth map adjustment again. Let's add yet another node to now manipulate. Okay, so I'm going to take this node, move this guy out of the way, We're going to connect the alpha channel because it's the alpha matte that we've just generated that's driving that secondary adjustment. So coming back here, let's turn off depth map preview, and over here, we'll go ahead and add that defocus background. And now you can see just what I did, right? So as I slide, I got the ability to take just what's not in perfect focus.
And that's why in your depth mode, you were just to keep this focus right here.
So
and
let's isolate, and I'll show you, right? If I just go, target depth is just here. So now we just have one focal plane.
Just him right here.
Yeah, and then the ability to kind of like, remove, right? Remove focus from the rest.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are just tools to develop our secondary that we can then apply all of the other grading tools inside the color page towards, like you would use for any mask that maybe you use with geometry and the power windows, right? And then again, they have their own trackers, right? There's a lot of new features in DaVinci Resolve 20, and a lot in the AI tool set. We talked about adding this, but just one of the working editorial features that is one of my favorites is when we have a clip that has transform, any transformation on a clip, right? So let's go ahead and take that and set yet another one, right, to this, right? So now we have a transform on the clip. So let's just go ahead and zoom into this area real quick. And you can see what I mean. This clip now, with keyframes, indicates it as keyframes, right? So we can actually open that up in our keyframes window. Keyframes window shows me the keyframes. I can adjust and stretch between them, right? Plus, that's in the parameter tab of looking at just the keyframes position. What I really want is I want to see the quality of that animation. So now I can take this, and then let's just soften it. We have an ease in and ease out for that transform automatically. And of course, because this is still just something we can adjust, I can go back to the other view and I can shrink or extend, right? It simply stretches appropriately. This window pops out entirely on its own. So if you'd like to move it to another window to make it easier to navigate all of your transformations, we can control all the parameters right here in video. Okay, you can see the ones that I've already got exposed. You can enable more. This will actually track and control all the keyframes for resolve effects and open effects as well.
I'm a custom Windows type of guy, so I like to customize my workflow and whatnot to make everything easier and whatnot. Like easy access, like if I need bins, they're here. If I need effects, it's right here.
Yeah, exactly. There's a number of things like the teleprompter workflow inside the cut page. That's the new feature when we enable this voiceover tool. We actually do have the ability to cue a playback from a script, right, for a prompter. So if we loaded a script file, like even the desktop, the one that I just exported, right? As it plays back, you can actually have it cueing your playback. You can see that we've got a level control as well as the input monitoring options. There's some more options, right? No countdown, 3-second or 5-second countdown. You can choose where that new voice recording is going to. So it doesn't necessarily have to just go where the default is. And then there's also some other things, right? Like there's some options for monitoring, as well as which track and we're recording to, as well as which device that we're using to record. And these are all in this one little interface. But look over here to the right, because this one is voice isolation, this one is dialogue leveling, and this one is stereo fixing. So these are all things that you can enable. You want to enable a recording for voiceover with voice isolation on. You can do that in this new tool.
When you said isolation, is it this one?
That's leveling. This one's isolation.
Okay, so leveling, does that mean that you could level each person? Or?
So this is actually on the input as we record this track. So if we record this track, we're recording with leveling and isolation on.
Gotcha.
It'd be the same as if we took a track and then applied leveling and isolation in post. But we're able to record that directly.
So, like, for example, you have 4 subjects here. They're all mic'd up, but it's all recorded in one track. Unfortunately, right?
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Can you isolate the voices?
You might not be able to isolate in that environment. I actually haven't tested what you're describing, but one of the things that you could do with that with that 4-person, say, boom mic, right? You got one boom recording everybody in the same room. Is you could use the Intellicut in the Fairlight page. Intellicut will actually break it into the voices that it hears. So the different speakers, and it's going to checkerboard onto 4 different tracks. So then you will have a track-based option to apply the voice isolation and the dialogue leveler, okay?
That's awesome. These are awesome, great features.
Awesome, great features. Here's some more that's just kind of like, here's a fun one, right? Imagine, you know, in this section, we've got some generated subtitles to do, right? So this is a timeline-based feature, AI tools, subtitles from audio. Okay, so we're just going to allow it to leave the default language. You can see what we support right now, right? There's a number of languages supported. Okay. But in addition, if we tick this box, we'll be prompted to download the extended transcription language support. And that's something that we don't automatically package in there. It's another download, and you can just decide to download that. If you want to see where that is, because it's prompting it here, it's actually in the Downloads Manager. And so you'll see that there's a few things that are targeted for download, but we have not downloaded yet, right? So you can do this in the Downloads Manager. But because I asked for it to do transcription, it prompted me when I selected the button. So let's leave this on default, or let's go to Netflix default and say create. So analyzing this and generating these automatically, right? First ascent of an unclimbed volcano, okay? Well, here's the subtitle track right there. Now, new features including the option of going to our titles, finding animated title elements, like word highlight, and then we'll drag this down to the subtitle track and apply the style.
Oh, wow.
So now you want those TikTok style, right? Call outs every time the word is spoken. Right?
So
and they're customizable because everything in here is in here.
Would I be eliminate myself from going to a third-party transcription service?
Oh, our transcription is great. It's all done locally. In fact, all the training and the processing for our AI tools is done locally on the device. So some of the other tools that I've heard of, you know, in the industry, they may bounce out to a cloud environment for processing because there's so much more power available to the cloud. There are some security issues to consider, right? I mean, especially if you've got a script. Is it a sensitive script? Can you share that script? Because now that script might be going up to a cloud server that gets replicated across 20 different cloud servers around the globe. You may not want to share that script with anybody, okay? Let alone everybody. Okay. Same thing with your picture. If you've got to get the picture to recognize it, right? One of the earlier AI-based tools that we have on clips is the ability to do something which is to analyze the clip for people. Okay, and this is going to look and find a face. So if I said this is, this is Chris. Okay, we're going to call him Chris. I don't know his name. Everywhere we find Chris, right? If I were to close this window now, having defined who Chris is, and we choose AI tools, analyze clips for people, well, look, it found Chris, right? It understands that this is the person that we found. So again, all of that processing is happening locally on our system. It didn't actually have to bounce anywhere to do it, which means you haven't shared it with anybody.
Gotcha. So like for this example, we were discussing whether to do two separate ones, an English interview and also Spanish for the Spanish market and whatnot. But with this English, I could automatically have AI and translate it in Spanish, right?
So here, let's look at what's available from the subtitles from audio.
So I had time when I fill it right, and I go up, I know do that world, then I want to pull back, I'm going to do the switch pan. So when I pull back into the switch pan, it's hitting, but then we're in 3D,
Just to say volcano, so they could determine if there was an active.
I just saved myself an hour to send it to a third-party transcription service.
I love that for you. That makes me feel good.
For me to export, upload it to the third-party transcription service, translate it in Spanish, and wait a few hours to come back.
And wait for it to come back as a result.
Right
So here's another thing, right? We still have the word highlight that that we can add to the subtitle track. So let's drag this up. Apply word highlight to the track. All right. Let's see if we can do that. Oh, it's not listening to me right now. All right, we'll get that one working to the track. Here's how you can control all the other attributes of this. What you'll notice about the subtitle tracks is that you can either control the entire track or you can control them by caption. So if you do find that maybe it made an incorrect assumption, you can make an adjustment to it. And if you want to change only one, then you click this customize option. It only changes the one that you've selected. So for instance, maybe you decide that there's some text blocking you, or there's something that we need to move away from in the actual picture, right? Maybe you need to move this one, just this one, up to the top. All right, you can see how the individual adjustment is available to you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great feature because, like I said, I just saved myself going to a third-party service to translate this 5-minute clip.
Yeah.
In Spanish.
Yeah, exactly.
And wait to the end of the day or the following next day. Oh, it's the transcript is ready.
Yep.
And boom, you have it right there, like in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love how it works, and I can tell in many cases that when it's accurate. Oh, look, it's actually still listening to me. See, VO clean is coming in right now because I got the mic on. So yeah, it's great. I believe it to be very accurate, but I can only verify a couple of languages to be sure.
For sure.
So I have to ask.
Which is like your typical Spanish, Mandarin.
I can understand the Spanish and the French and the English. If it's Mandarin, I'm not doing it. So. Yeah.
Well, Sean, thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate it. I love the new features, especially with the depth mode, the coloring. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.